Thank you. Good afternoon. We waited a little bit for the Pope. Thank you, sir. You all know Tommy Pigott, my principal deputy. Thank you again, everyone. Yes, we obviously some of the big news, which we'll be talking about here in our announcement momentarily. Thank you for being here. So first, again, thank you all very much. First, I would like to share a message from Secretary Marco Rubio following the election of a new pope and the first pope from the United States. Quote, I extend my heartfelt congratulations to His Holiness Pope Leo XIV on his election as the 267th successor to St. Peter. This is a moment of profound significance for the Catholic Church, offering renewed hope and continuity amid the 2025 Jubilee year to over 1 billion faithful worldwide. The papacy carries a sacred and solemn responsibility. Jeanette and I are united in prayer for His Holiness. May the Holy Spirit impart wisdom, strength, and grace as He shepherds the Church. The United States looks forward to deepening our enduring relationship with the Holy See with the first American pontiff. That is again from Secretary of State Marco Rubio. This morning, Secretary Rubio spoke with Pakistani Prime Minister Sharif and Indian External Affairs Minister Jai Shankar. In both calls, the Secretary emphasized the need for immediate de-escalation and called for an end to the violence. He expressed U.S. support for direct dialogue between India and Pakistan and encouraged continued efforts to improve communications. Today also marks the 80th anniversary of Victory Day for World War II. As President Trump said in his proclamation marking the day, quote, we celebrate the unmatched might, strength, and power of the American Armed Forces, and we commit to protecting our sacred birthright of liberty against all threats. We offer our unending thanks to every patriot from the greatest generation who left behind his home and family to fight for our freedom in distant lands. On this 80th anniversary, President Trump and Prime Minister Starmer announced a historic trade deal between the United States and the United Kingdom. This trade deal provides American companies unprecedented access to the UK markets and delivers real benefits to American farmers while bolstering U.S. national security. The bottom line is this is a great deal for America. As described by President Trump, quote, the deal includes billions of dollars of increased market access for American exports, especially in agriculture, dramatically increasing increasing access for American beef, ethanol, and virtually all of the products produced by our great farmers. As President Trump also said today, today's deal shows that if you respect America and bring serious proposals to the table, America is open to business, and that there are many more deals to come. Also today, the Ukrainian Rada, their parliament, unanimously voted to ratify the U.S.-Ukraine Reconstruction Investment Fund that we signed last week, a deal shaped by President Trump's unmatched ability to get results on the world stage, the best deal maker in the world. This agreement got 338 votes, well over the 226 needed, demonstrating again that this agreement has been a fully collaborative partnership from start to finish. This is more than policy. It's a partnership that strengthens America, secures long-term gains for both nations, and proves once again that under President Trump, promises made are in fact promises kept. Well, I think that having been listening to those calls, some of them, and being in the process, as all of us were in some fashion or another when this conflict began, it was the real focus of the Secretary of State, who has been the center point leading these conversations and this outreach. And he's made very clear, focusing on two things, that this should not escalate. This has been a key framework. Clearly, this has been an issue for decades, and it's with what we saw over the last few weeks after the terrorist attack. It was not surprising, but very, very disappointing. But it was about certainly that it should not escalate, and communication was fundamentally key, that there should be talks, that there should not be silence, and that America obviously was in the center of this in speaking with a variety of leaders of both countries over the last 2 days.
So has he offered to play a mediation role between
Well,
the two countries?
as you know, I mean, this is in every situation. In this particular case, of course, a very delicate and dangerous situation. But in any case where there's diplomatic conversations between leaders of countries or really any level where there's negotiations happening, we are not going to be speaking about the details. That is certainly our policy. We think it's important to not put details in the midst of the media, the worldwide media, when the work is being done privately between leaders, and we need to really try to keep it that way. We continue to urge India and Pakistan to work towards a responsible solution in this, and we've been saying that certainly from the beginning. We also want to say that what matters in this particular instance right now where we're at is that the phone calls happened, that we are remaining engaged with both governments, at, again, multiple levels. We, though, will not engage in the nature of discussing what the conversations have been or what we've conveyed. Certainly, there's a lot already on the record when it comes to our reaction to what's been happening here. So there's some discussion that Pakistan wants an independent investigation as to what has happened regarding the terrorist attack. And, of course, what we say to that is we want the perpetrators to be held accountable and are supportive of any efforts to that end. Message from the Secretary, and I think from the United States as a whole in general, is that the violence should stop, that the military action, war, as we've seen in that region, and certainly in the Middle East, has clearly, for generations, proven that it is not a solution because it never ends. There has to be a change in that regard. So obviously, when it comes to solving a problem, this administration has made itself clear that war, the military, more violence is not a solution. Diplomacy is a solution. New ideas to stop generational violence and problems. Well, we cannot speak to the ongoing negotiations, but I will note that recent statements by Qatar and Egypt that they're continuing to engage in pursuit of an agreement, and Ambassador Witkoff, of course, and his team are continuing as well. None of that has stopped. So there's action that goes on, but our focus, again, remains clear. Well, remember, this is not at all related to the negotiations regarding the ceasefire and the conflict. This is a separate dynamic that is an arrangement of an economic partnership between the United States and Ukraine. This is something that is meant certainly to endure and to provide, as we know, as the brilliance of this is to provide the money coming up in the future to rebuild once this is finished. And that's what we're looking at. But it's also clear to the world and to all the players involved that Ukraine has a partnership with the United States. It is an economic partnership. It is one that will last for generations. And will make a difference for every Ukrainian and will strengthen the national security of that country.
Thank you, Tammy. Just switching to Venezuela, the Secretary tweeted about members of the political opposition in Venezuela and this rescue operation, in his words, and that those individuals were welcomed into the United States.
This was a unique opportunity. I will put it that way. But we also know, as President Trump has promised, is to bring every American home. And that, you want to talk of an enduring promise, and a promise that is kept and grows every week, it seems. So that continues. It is a horrible situation to be in, whether it's Edan Alexander and the other Americans who are held by Hamas or other situations around the world.
Following the demonstrations yesterday from pro-Palestinian protesters in Columbia University's Butler Library, the Secretary also treated that the Trump administration would be reviewing the visa status of the individuals involved. Can you say anything more on that? Is that review underway? And if so, have any of the visas been revoked?
Yes, the Secretary had noted that regarding the vandalism, the violence, the holding of that room, that those individuals would be looked at regarding their status and what was happening. And I believe that is ongoing. So if there is a dynamic, also he noted that Hamas supporters are not going to remain in this country and that action would be taken there. So certainly he's been consistent. He means it. And in this particular case, you had people arrested, and that building was reopened. And I think that the nature of our promise that people who are in this country with a visa and who do not follow our laws or affect the nature of what's important to our country when it comes to our foreign policy and national security will be acted on in that regard. And yes, he said it, and I believe him. And
the Argentine press claims the CIA officers took advantage of a security breach to extract these hostages from the embassy in Caracas. Does the State Department confirm this version?
Well, it sounds like a movie to me.
Yeah.
Maybe in a few years, or maybe from 5 years ago. Of course, I won't comment on gossip and speculation and amazing stories, but at this point, those are stories. Well, these are trade talks in Switzerland.
Yes, that's
Secretary
right.
of Treasury Scott Bessent and USTR Ambassador Jameson Greer will discuss trade with their Chinese counterpart in that instance in Switzerland. At President Trump's direction, the United States is negotiating with countries to rebalance, as you all know, because I've said it so many times, to rebalance our trade relations to achieve reciprocity, open new markets, and protect America's economic and national security.
No problem. On the Secretary Rubio himself, I think many American taxpayers are just wondering how this is going to work between both the State Department as well as the National Security Advisor position.
Sure. From initial examinations, it appears as though, despite needing a giant business card with a bunch of jobs on it, he's being paid one salary. So he's saving Americans money, as a matter of fact, by doing multiple jobs. But I think what's interesting here, and certainly the India-Pakistan situation highlights this, is that, and we've thought about this, that the work of the State Department and foreign policy very often, because of the nature of the world, matches the nature of the National Security Advisor's work. Of course, we're all working to move forward President Trump's agenda and his vision for making not just America great, but that also, of course, benefits the world at large. So we're looking at a dynamic with Secretary Rubio, in fact, again, being a point person in the lead of these initial days of dealing with Pakistan and India, that those conversations have been vital and important, and his role has made that possible. And of course, it's would always be that way. This is not an unusual position for him with the work that he's already been doing. So with money, he's saving us some money. And also, remember, this is an interim position. That it's not a permanent position. But it matches perfectly well because of the nature of his work anyway. I don't know if Americans will see any disruption or change other than the successes that come forward with President Trump and Secretary Rubio.
So you're saying it's the same exact salary as before?
Well, I would have to. I didn't know what his salary was before.
Okay.
I don't know what it is right now, but I know that he's not receiving 2 salaries or more.